Hello, hello, hello. We are here live. So, waiting for you to get in so we can get started. Live sessions. Waiting for you to get in. Where's my people at? Where's my people at so we can get started? Hello, hello. Who's here? Say hi. One person. Y'all need to get in so we can get started. Then you guys are gonna come back again with the questions when we're live trying to answer questions. Come on, let's get in so we can get started. Can you hear me? Say hi. Hi. Hi, Nils. Hi, Kakanda, SPRL. Hi, Favor, Mercy. Hi, hi, hi. Oh, yeah, now we got people. Let's get started. So what's going on? Let me share the screen with you. It's happening today. When it comes to this immigration bill, it's happening today. Let me just go ahead and share the screen so we can discuss. Let's just get right into it. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? No? Okay, let's try again. Share screen. Entire screen. Hello. So yeah, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? This is the screen. Can you see it? No. Okay, let me. This one is getting me crazy. Hold on. Okay, let me get back. Let me get back to the another screen. Just give me one moment. Trying to find this article. I was supposed to share the screen, so I don't know why it's not working. Just give me one moment so we can get into it. Sorry. This is the article we want to talk about. Let's see if you can see my screen. Let's see if you can see my screen. What I want to share. Okay. Let's go back. Share the screen. Share the screen. Yes. So now you can see it. You can see it, right? Yes. Okay. So now you can see the screen. This is the screen that we're sharing. Hopefully you can see it. So can you see? Once you can see it, let's get into it. Hold on just a second. Let me answer this phone. Hold on just a second. Just a second. So Democrats to make a pitch Friday for pathway to citizenship in spending bill. So what's happening is today they are trying to really pretty much convince the parliamentarian about this infrastructure bill, whether they can insert this immigration pathway to citizenship. If you go back to the screen, if you go back to this article, it's pretty much saying that the Senate Democrats will meet with the parliamentarian on Friday to make their pitch for including a pathway to citizenship for some undocumented immigrants in their $3.5 trillion spending package. Two sources familiar with the plans confirmed to the Hill. So basically, they are going to talk about it today. And what are they going to do? The Senate Democrats haven't unveiled their immigration language. Remember last time when I talked about this, I said that, well, they have to come with a language that is not regulatory, but it is fiscal. It has to show that how immigration fits into the budget. Remember, budget reconciliation is when everybody comes in the committees, they come with their plan and see how they are going to support their plan and the money that will support the plan. And one of their arguments was that, well, immigration is in fact can fit it into this budget reconciliation bill because of the fact that it's going to raise revenue when we give those people when we open up a pathway to citizenship. Of course, people are going to pay USCIS fees, they're going to pay penalties, and we're going to raise revenue in that sense. So that's what they are trying to come up with, that language. And then it's saying that continue to negotiate through a week-long summer break, but they want to sending a plan to include a pathway to citizenship for at least dreamers, immigrants with temporary protected status, TPS holders, and long-term agricultural workers. That's basically what they're trying to do. Let me go back to my, so that's what they're trying to do. So we don't know for real what they're going to talk about today, but really that's a heads up, because what's happening is that in order for this bill to pass, right, they have to have a support of all the Democrats, 50 Democrats. On top of it, convince the parliamentarian about the language of the bill so that the bill can pass. And some people in the Democratic Party, they were talking about 3.5 trillion. It's a lot, and they're concerned about inflation. And they were saying that, well, if we drop it to 1.5 trillion, then we can support this bill. But it looks like, of course, they came up with some type of agreement. That's why they want to talk about it, that place tight restriction on what can be included and requires Senator parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough, a former immigration lawyer, to weigh in on whether it complies with the chamber's arcane rules. So again, the language has to be fiscal, not regulatory. Otherwise, it's not going to fit the infrastructure bill because they're talking about budget. So if you go and read this article, really you find out that's what they'll be talking about today. And hopefully by tomorrow we should know. So when I come back tomorrow with this live, so we can basically go ahead and talk about who is included and who's not. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So I stopped sharing. So now we're gonna go back to the questions. Yeah, somebody's talking about, well, how about essential workers? Let me go back and see the first the first question. Okay, so yeah, good news. Well, how soon can we apply? When something like that passes, we have to wait for that to be basically published in a what they call the register with the federal rules. It takes up to like 45 days for it to be public, and then just like you know how when TPS it's being recognized, when a country is being recognized as TPS, it has to be published. The rule has to be published, and at that point, people are allowed to apply. Sometimes it takes 45 days. That's the regulation. So I don't know if this one, if it passes, how long it's going to take for people to start applying. They have to provide guidance and all that. It might take some time, so maybe 30 days or 45 days. Somebody's asking about, what about, watching from Pennsylvania. Hi, Abdul from Pennsylvania. Thank you for watching. Well, somebody's talking about how about essential workers. So the last, from the last talk with those senators, really what they're concerned about is inflation, and they're talking about, well, 3.5 is a lot if we can support only 1.5, and that's what they're saying. Well, if they can support only 1.5, they can include dreamers, TPS holders, and farmers. And if you really look at it, they really have to come up with something, especially for essential workers. It is a debate. We don't know for sure today what they're going to talk about and how they're going to convince the parliamentarian. But once they do it today, tomorrow when we come back, we will have an idea, and then we can talk about it again. How this one is talking up. Are people who have overstayed their visa going to give them be a chance to pathway? It depends. Kakanda, it depends if that those people were considered essential workers. If that bill includes essential workers, then people who overstay visa will get a chance. The bill passed. A person who has new TPS will be eligible. Schmidt, I think yes, because TPS are the people who they really want to help, whether they're TPS, new TPS, well, I believe they should be eligible if this bill passed because it includes TPS holders. So how does this affect immigrants who are out of status? Depending on what category you find yourself, favor, mercy. Let's say the person is out of status and the person happened to be essential worker working during the pandemic, then if this bill includes pandemic people, like essential workers people, then that person will get. How about denials? What do you mean by Williams? What do you mean by denial? What is TPS? Temporary protected status, Kakanda, mines. SPRL. That's when a country, let's say, for example, let me just give you an example. Haiti has been designated for temporary protected status recently again because of the thing that's going on, based on natural disasters, civil war. The Homeland Security, the Secretary can designate a country as a TPS country. So if yes, how long does it usually take? Well, Nilsa, let's say this bill passes tomorrow, everything is confirmed tomorrow, and the president signs it on Monday. Within 45 days of that bill becoming a law, it should be published and with guidance so people can apply. That's how it works. So questions? Any other questions? That's the most important thing that I really wanted to share. And then I want to reiterate for no, Bijoux, there is a question before. Oh, can I ask for Nilsa, can you ask for national interest waiver if you overstay the visa? Oh, the answer is yes, you can ask for it, but once that national interest waiver get approved, you cannot adjust status inside of the US because of overstaying the visa. Then you will be required to get outside of the US in order to do consular processing. So to answer the question, yes, you can apply for I-1 using the form I-140 to request a national interest waiver type of visa or petition. While the petition may get approved if you qualify, of course, but then when it comes to adjustment of status, the way they look at it, they will look at the time you are adjusting status, at the time you're filing the Queen Court application, what was your status then? That's when they will say, well, you haven't been you haven't maintained your lawful non-immigrant visa, then you cannot adjust status inside of the US. You have to go out and do consular processing. So some people apply for waiver. If you have a qualifying relative here, then you apply for waiver. If you refer back to my videos, you will understand how that process of adjusting status works. But really, the answer is yes, you can. But once you get approved, unfortunately, unless a waiver is approved as well, then you can adjust status from the US inside. Otherwise, you have to go outside. Niels, I hope I answer your question. Williams, will the parliamentary decision be announced today? It looks like it. It looks like they're gonna announce it today because they're talking about it today. Home Tassini. It looks like it. We don't know. We're just gonna watch the news and see how it goes. Williams, marriage green card denial. So William, depending on what was the reason of the denial, the denial reason, really, that question has to be like, we have to read the decision. What was the reason of denying the marriage? Then go from there, because I can't really just give you a general answer to that, because everybody gets a denial based on different reasons when it comes to marriage. Are you talking about if your marriage gets denied and you find yourself with no visa if this bill passes? This bill is really specific to TPS, dreamers, and farm workers, unless you fit in those three categories. So they were talking before about essential workers, but they're no longer talking about those. It's like we really have to wait until we see it. Oh, Niels, are you welcome? Oh, for somebody who files a 2018 asylum, my friend, some people have filed in 2014. They still haven't gotten an approval. Well, another way to go about it, Dash, if you have some reason, specific reason, like humanitarian reasons or health-related reason, let's say you apply for asylum and your family is back home and they're having a lot of health, serious health problems, you can expedite your request. You just Google USCIS expedite request and look at the reasons. If you fall into those reasons, and then expedite and see. It's discretionary, of course, but you can still do it and see if they are going to expedite your case. What time the meeting is going to be? Oh, it doesn't tell us, but it looks like right now they're already in the meeting talking about it, because they work in the morning, you know. Sometimes they work in the night, but yeah. So right now, probably they're talking about it. How many kids get in the central workers? What do you mean by how many? Patel, I don't understand that question. Is Senate going to be hurdled to cross? I can't answer that. I don't know. Let's see. It looks like they might come with something, but it's going to be a Kakanda mines. It looks like they're going to come with some type of compromise. But the way I see it, it looks like it's really going to include limited amount of people. That's how they're moving towards, because now they're not really talking about essential workers, really talking only about three category of people. So it looks like it. Okay, if someone gets CPS and his brother citizen American want to apply for him, do you think it's possible to? Well, Schmidt, first of all, if somebody has a TPS and then the brother is applying for that person, first of all, the brother, that petition will take forever. That, first of all, that's what you have to know. It might take up to 16 years because siblings petition takes forever, right? So let's say you that person gets approved 16 years later, right? And then depending on that status, if that TPS status is still valid, and then you don't have any other inadmissibility issues, yes, you can adjust status inside. So to answer your question, pretty much when it comes to adjusting status, you have to look at two things. By the time you are filing your adjustment of status application, what type of status do you have? If you're lawfully present and you have no crimes and anything else, yes, you will adjust status inside. If by the time you're filing your application of green card, you have nothing, unlawfully present, then you cannot adjust inside unless you fit into those marriage or family exception like VAWA, petitioner, or marriage, based on marriage. Oh, will Senate overrule the parliamentarian if she denies inclusion of immigration to her conciliation? No, they don't have that power. Because remember, what's happening is the Democrats cannot convince the 10 people in the Republican side to vote for it. That's why they're forcing their way through this budget reconciliation. First of all, try to convince their own party, like they have to convince all the senators in their own party, 50. And then once they get those 50, then they go to the parliamentarian and try to convince them, looking at the language of the bill. The language has to be fiscal so it can fit budget, the world budget. So once they convince the parliamentarian, then that will work. If the parliamentarian look at the language of the bill, they're like, this bill is regulatory, it cannot pass through budget reconciliation. That's it. That's the end of the argument or whatever, because the Republicans, 10 of them are not willing to join them. That's what's happening. Can pending asylum applicant be in the bill? In this bill, if they are considered essential workers, if the way it's gonna work is this: first, you look who's included in the bill. Babatunde. First, you look at who's included in the bill. If the bill includes essential workers, and that person who has pending asylum case happen to be an essential worker, then the answer is yes. So that's how I'll answer that question. Come on, let's go. Let's continue. We have a couple more questions, folks. Let's get into more questions. Mary Zioka, do you think essential worker will be considered? I'm hoping for essential worker to be considered because essential worker work so hard during this pandemic, taking risk, and they deserve it. So I really support it. So I don't know if those people will support it, but I support it. Quatar, I've been here since 2007. Will I be qualified? Do you consider yourself essential worker? That's the question. Quatar, if you consider yourself essential worker and the bill includes essential worker provision and this bill passes, yes, it'll be considered. That's how I'll put it. Mary, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. So another thing I wanted to talk about is about this cancellation of removal. If you want to claim cancellation of removal under this court decision, Chavez v. Garland, the deadline is November 16. So you need to check on it if you qualify. So that's something else I wanted to talk about. If someone gets an appeal case in immigration case, that person can apply for TPS. First of all, you have to know what was that appeal about. And the person, remember TPS is discretionary, right? You look at the qualification. If you qualify, of course you apply and see how the decision is going to go. But I don't see that an appeal case that has nothing to do with TPS will prevent the person from applying for TPS. That's how I'll answer that. If you didn't pay taxes while where you were working, they have to provide you with a affidavit. Ivan Petrovich, wherever you were working, they have to testify for you. They have to write and testify that you did work for them. So now the question is, are they willing to do it? So that's how you're gonna you really have to get them to write a letter, like an affidavit for you. Can a brother who's a citizen file for a half brother? It depends on, basically it's going to depend on, this is a tricky question. I'm gonna have to research on that, but I believe that it's going to depend on whether the half brother was adopted by the parent, not adopted, but whether the way they got married, let's say the half brother, the parents, how the relationship was the other parent decided to get the other child as a stepfather, and then they form a relationship. So it's a tricky question. Yeah, this reconciliation bill has to pass by the end of September, because that's when they have to vote for the budget. This is September. So that's why they keep talking about it. They did talk about it during the summer, and they keep talking about it. They have to pass it this September. Was some essential workers considered who work per pandemic, the restaurant, retail? Yes, was some. Oh, what about those of a criminal record? What type of Steve Moore? What type of criminal record? Because some criminal record can be waived, but some cannot. So it just depends on the seriousness. Sorry, like outside there's noises, but so you might hear some noises, but it's coming from outside. Dash, I said yes, if essential workers are considered in this bill and the bill passes, then yes. Before the pandemic too? No, during was some essential worker they're talking about during the pandemic. That's what they're talking about. Remember, the pandemic became official when President Trump was in power in March. I guess it was March 20th when they decided about the pandemic. So that's when you start thinking about, did you start working as an essential worker during that moment, starting March of 2020? Kakanda's like, please email me on this one. Kakanda, if I have to do the research, you gotta pay me for that. Here we're actually just doing like journal questions. If you get too specific, then you have to schedule the consultation. You funny. So anyway, do you have more questions? They're going to include prospective immigrant status too in this bill? No, unfortunately, this bill is so restricted. They're even trying to restrict it as much as they can, because lately they haven't even been talking about essential worker at all. They're only talking about farmers, dreamers, and TPS holders. If bill will pass, can I get status with expired passport? Of course. That's the bill. It's trying to help people out of status. So yes, Ivan, yes. Yes, Kakanda is really funny. Yes. He's trying to get me to do the research and then just email him. We'll try, but really, if you're trying to get me to work like that, then you gotta pay me, Kakanda. Half brother. And half brother, Kakanda. Anyway, siblings petition takes forever. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. It takes like 10 years and up. Oh, if this bill passes, yeah, if this bill passes, it's this bill, the way it's gonna work, Stephanie, the way this bill is gonna work, okay? If let's say this bill passes, the people who are in lawful status, like TPS holders with their valid TPS, or DACA recipient with their valid DACA that hasn't expired yet. Those are the people who can apply for green card directly. The other people have to get into a what they call temporary green card first. So that's how it's going to work. Depending on the old, I'm talking about the old language. I don't know about this new language because they haven't drafted yet, Stephanie, but I'm answering this question based on the old language. So, Favor Mercy, thank you for assistance. You're welcome, you're welcome. More questions? Any more questions? Thank you, Kakanda. More questions so we can wrap up. Yeah, Wasam, today they are talking about try to convince the parliamentarian today. So we should know about who's drafting it. Yes, they haven't drafted the language of it. So that they're trying to negotiate before. So once they get a compromise about what can be inside, then they will draft it. So basically they're trying to talk to them. This is how we think, this is what we want, this is how we're going to draft it, this is how it's going to sound. So once they get the parliamentarian to accept it, then they go ahead and draft it, then they pass it. Yeah, DI, thank you so much. You're welcome. So folks, 30 minutes. Thank you. I hope I answered some of the questions. Kakanda, will try our best tomorrow. Maybe we'll come up with the answer. But tomorrow, again, I'll be here 10 a.m. If I'm late, probably 10:20, something like that. So that's how we want to wrap it up. So thank you for coming. Based on the old language, like you say, can an apartment maintenance technician who worked through the pandemic qualify? Yes, Bimbo, yes. How about the undocumented people, plus that, especially if they have citizen kids? Well, in order for a bond doc, in order for a child to petition for you, the child has to be 21. Unless that person, the undocumented person fits into this bill, this new bill that hasn't passed yet, as we have been talking about. But as far as children applying for parents, children must be 21. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you, folks. Thank you for coming. Please go ahead and share. Yes, my fingers crossed. I really want this bill to pass. Look, I'm looking for clients too, so I want this bill to pass. So happy clients, happy lawyers. That's how it works. Housekeeper too, yes, they're considered essential worker. Hotel business, did you work in the pandemic? Yes. I appreciate it. I do appreciate you too for being here, chatting with me, Damilola. So thank you very much. Tomorrow, go ahead and think about your time. Yes, Eastern time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Think about your other questions, then bring it tomorrow. We'll try again our best to answer your question. Kakanda, I'll try my best to take my time and research. If you come tomorrow, I'll try to give you the answer, okay? So thank you very much. Share, like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Share with your friend. Subway, did you work during the pandemic? Package, if you work, then yes, you will consider essential worker. Security guard, you work during the pandemic, yes, you're considered essential worker. So that's how we put it. Again, thank you for showing up. Until next time, bye-bye.